Next up, we have ALS Advocate Extraordinaires, Sandy Morris, Cathy Collet, Deb Paust, Shelly Hoover. Is Jenny part of this too, or is Jenny just a participant?
Jenny is part of it, but not part of this presentation today.
Okay, great. I didn't want to miss. If I'm leaving any names out, please let me know. But this is about a document that's called the Morris ALS Principles, everyone. And it's part of an I Am ALS initiative. And it was created by those living with and impacted by ALS. They even had a poster presented on this at the 2021 International Symposium on ALS MND. Sandy, we would love to hear from you and your team, specifically about what prompted you to create these principles and how it all came to fruition. So we look forward to you guys sharing information and how people can get involved specifically with what you're going to be talking about. So the floor is yours. Take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Your patience.
And I know that it is late, so we are going to go fast. So we're so happy that you guys are here, because we absolutely need you in this fight. And this is a part of it. So Cathy Collet is going to start us off with the background for the Morris ALS Principles.
Thank you very much, Sandy. And quite honestly, I should just leave that first slide up and let you read that preamble. I'm here, I'm actually substituting for Phil Green tonight. Phil couldn't be here, and I'm honored to be here. At the same time, I really wish you could hear this from Phil, because he was such an important part of this whole process. So here we have the preamble, a pretty powerful statement. And Sarah, if we could go to the next slide, please. The Morris ALS principles were actually, I think, a good thing that was born from frustration. Frustration over being excluded from information, frustration for being excluded from decisions. And some people with ALS and caregivers came together and made some good come from that. I encourage you after this, Google the Denver principles. You'll see what the HIV/AIDS activists did back in 1983. This is modeled after that. The parents among the group working on the Morris ALS principles, there were parents in the group, and they were the ones who really made it come to life that you can't criticize behavior unless you set clear boundaries, as every parent knows. So this is about setting the boundaries. And it was time, and you can see on that beautiful picture of the path, this is the Sandy Morris mantra of what you allow is what will continue. Can we go to the next slide, please, Sarah? This slide shows you the 5 pillars that the group came up with. I'll just let you read through those. They're pretty powerful. They're simple, but also we know that they're going to be complex to really make happen in action. So they're pretty powerful in their simplicity, but we know the devil's in the details. And I'm going to pass things over to Deb Paust now, who's going to talk to you about some of the details. So thank you.
Okay, as you can see here, we've covered a lot of ground, and we unfortunately don't have the time to go over the Morris principles in full. However, you'll have the graphics for review later. Next slide, please. Okay, so here you can see we've got, well, it's important to note that there are 4 stakeholder groups, and the principles will have different implementations and accountability for each group. And I wanted to just give you a few examples. The first one is for healthcare professionals, and we really are echoing Dr. Andrews. Provide genetic counseling and testing for all people diagnosed with ALS, regardless of family history. This next one is for the scientific and research communities. Share your data, designs, failures, and best practices, so precious time isn't wasted duplicating efforts. To the policymakers, legislators, and regulators, mandate a reliable count of people living with ALS so we can better understand causation. And to the ALS nonprofit community, see us, hear us, and amplify the goals of our diverse community. So these impact all of us. Next up is Shelly Hoover, and she's going to tell you how you can get involved.
Hi, it's really pretty simple. If you see someone or an organization who is doing it right, you can put in a request for an accolade. If you see a person or an entity who is violating the principle, we need to know about that as well. It's as simple as going to the website, Morris ALS Principles.org, and clicking a button to say, I would like to submit an accolade or make you aware of a violation. It's quick and easy, and you can do it with your IDs. Next slide, please. Here's an example of an accolade of someone who is doing it right. Next slide, please. If a name is submitted for a citation, the group will first contact them and try to remedy the situation and hope they stop violating the principle. That would be our goal. I'm going to turn it over to Sandy to wrap this up. Thank you.
Next slide, please.
Hi, everyone. This is Sandy Morris's daughter, Kylan Morris. And this is actually how my mom's voice used to sound, I guess you would say, a few years ago, pre-ALS monster craziness. But I'm going to read through some of this. She'll fill in, she'll spackle me where needed, but just wanted to let you know who the voice was. So we have a new website for the Morris ALS Principles that you can see on our slide here. And so there's also the Morris ALS Principles are also hosted on the ALS website. So really it is just an easy Google search. You'll be able to find it pretty quick when it pops up. And then also on Twitter, there's a new ALS Principles Twitter page that you can find us on too. So yep, that they also presented at the ALS M&D Symposium, and you can find the posters and the videos linked as well. Next slide, please.
Oh, good. There we go. Good.
All right. And so what we do ask about the Morris ALS Principles and how you can help us spread the word really is living by them every day and sharing your support with us on social media, by retweeting, by doing anything you can to just, again, spread the word, printing them out and taking them to your clinics, taking them to your doctors, your neurologists, anyone on the street. If you want to pass them out to them, it's
Your support group.
it's your support group. It's just so important to see it spread, because that's how it's going to really become real in the end. And so also you can contact them at the email listed.
And Shelly already discussed how easy it is to nominate a person. And again, we must say out loud, what we allow is what will continue. So if we choose not to allow, to be excluded, or to not be part of the science, then that's our choice. And I know that so many of us out here are not going to stand for that. So we ask you to stand with us. And we know that, and we've been shown through other disease states, that when the people living with the disease get involved with the science, the conversation gets better and the progress goes faster. And that's what we're all about. So if anybody has any questions, let us know. But we thank you so much for the time that you've given us today. And we know it's late, so we want to honor your time as well. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. You know what? Please put any questions that you have for these ladies who just presented for us. And if Sandy, if somebody wants to just, you guys were so patient and waited. This has been such a great, informative webinar. I want to, you know, if you want to take a couple moments to dive deeper into what the principles are about, you know, some of those slides, I know you're trying to fit everything in a time frame, but I think it was Deb that, you know, just kind of went over a couple. If you want to dive into some of those slides, just to talk more about some of the principles, to give people, you know, a good understanding of specifics.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'll also say this, is that our website is up, but it is brand new. So there is a lot that we will be adding,
Okay.
including all the certificates. So if somebody's doing something very well, you'll see them there. And if somebody is not, you'll also see them there. So we welcome you to go out. And anybody that is interested, do please contact us. And Deb, I don't know if you want to speak more in depth, but I do believe that there is so much here. We could talk about this until next week, but we really just wanted to present the fact that we're not just saying that there are principles. We are here to enforce them. We are here to hold up those that value what we bring to the table. Scoot over for the power wheelchair. And then on the same sense, we are here to say that is not okay to exclude us from the science. We are powerful and we can do very hard things. And if you include us, we promise you that you will be happy about that. Deb, do you want to say any more about that?
Yeah, I can just add that, you know, we carefully chose each word here, and we have these different stakeholders of healthcare professionals, science and research, community, policy, legislators, regulators, and the ALS nonprofits. We have tried to cover all of the bases with all of the things that we felt were important to the community. And I'm really proud to be part of it. And I think the best way is to look at it yourselves and see how we've touched on so many important points.
Do we have any questions from the audience? I see just tons of positive comments in the chat. This is wonderful. This is great. Thank you, Sandy and Cathy and team. Thank you, Sandy. Thanks, Sandy and Associates. The Morris principles are fantastic and very applicable. Thank you for developing and promoting these. Anyone, we greatly appreciate it.
We need the input from the community to make this successful. Anyone can write principles, but it's where the rubber meets the road, and that we hold these stakeholders accountable. And we need the whole community in order for that to happen. So thank you in advance.
Well, I'm happy to help share things on social media that you want me to. I'm happy to do that. So.
Yeah, I loved, you know, Kylan recommending that we take these principles to the ALS clinics and to our physicians. The more it gets out there. I mean, we want this to be a common phrase, a common terminology in our community, because that's where it's going to have the most success.